I
He always
mean,
misses it.
it must be Tuesday.
That it is. We are in the building down in Sports Talk. Myself, left hand, aka at RM Desk on Twitter, which is this right now, and the ubiquitous one over there is aka Yada Bear in the building. We're about to make it do what it do, man. All right, Tuesday nights we've been holding y'all down for a couple of joints now, man. You know what I mean? You should be proud and pleased, you know what I mean, and honored to rock out with two really intelligent sports talkers, you know what I mean. Again, at the end of the day, we do what it do. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the Len Bias people with that Len Bias conversation, which was really dope. But anyway, I'm gonna flip the script and I'm gonna pass it over to the Philly compadre in the building right now. Yada Browski, what is the deal? What's happening? What's that one?
Man, we chilling up here, trying to survive. The heat, then the tornado warnings, which is
Right,
wild. I was like napping on the couch and I get like this alert on my phone, like, and then like on the TV, like tornado warning. I'm like, wait a minute, am I in Kansas or in
right,
Philadelphia?
right, right,
Because
right, right.
what's going on? But you know how it is in the summertime when that heat and humidity hit, and you got the storms, and then you got trash city over here. This trash Adelphia right now in the summertime. And it's crazy because we just had the Fourth of July holiday. Mad people barbecuing, and where you putting that trash at? It's everywhere now. So
So I'm gonna say this live and direct. See, I was holding this one. I was holding this one in the cut. I don't want to hear nothing from nobody talking about the Knicks stink because you just throwing this alley oop, right? I'm messing with Browski. She got it. Messing with Browski. Listen, what we gonna talk about tonight? The WNBA doing their thing tonight, Browski. I know you want to get into that.
hmm
We're gonna get into some baseball. We're gonna get into summer league. Oh, the next what? $2,000 ticket. Cooper Flag and Bronny James. Like, is that the next thing? Anything is the next thing, right? Um,
it's always the next day.
anything is the next thing. Um, so boxing is coming up this weekend. Shakur Stevenson. What are we gonna see? What does he have
Hopefully.
to prove? We're gonna get into all that. First thing, jump off is the first thing. Jump off. Browski is always ladies first in the building. So we're gonna talk about the WNBA. They're picking their All Star teams tonight, correct?
Yes, they just had their live picking the All Star teams. Caitlin Clark, Nafisa Collier. It was just on ESPN during WNBA countdown. It was a little fun, back and forth between those two. Um, the All Star reserve list this year is it's actually kind of interesting. Like a lot of people had some mm, something to say about certain people not being a starter versus being on the reserve list. Um, People like we want to say Angel Reese. She's a double double machine, and it's just crazy that she's still not getting the respect of being considered like an all star starter. She's 20 and 10. Um, she's just been balling out, and for her not to be considered a starter is a little wild. But when we look at the teams, Caitlin Clark, of course she went heavy Indiana Fever, as as they should, they always go heavy in teammate. Her first pick was Aaliyah Boston, who's been
Mm-hmm.
crazy this year. Her growth from rookie, sophomore to now her third year um, has been great to see. When she
Mm-hmm.
really stepped up her game, um, refined her game. Um, Nafisa first pick was Brianna Stewart. Can't be mad at that. Um, then second, and then Caitlin
What's that
second
in the
pick.
what's that in the background?
I don't. I thought that was.
You
Is
hear
that,
that?
yeah, I hear that. I don't know. Is that coming from you or is it
Nah,
coming from me?
I thought it was coming from me, but nah, nah. I don't know what it is. But anyway, if it's not you, don't even worry about it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I hear it. I don't know what it is. Sound like a fan or something. But I don't have no fan on. Um, but Caitlin's second pick was Sabrina and Nephew. Um, Nafisa's second pick was Alicia Gray.
Hmm.
Caitlin's third pick, Asia Wilson. Then Nafisa follow up with NECA. I always mess up her last name. Awuma Wale from
Okay.
the Storm. Then Caitlyn came back with Satu Sabe from the Mercury,
Hmm.
and Nafisa picked up Paige Beckers, who's having a great rookie year. Like this,
Rookie of the year, rookie year.
oh, definitely.
Okay.
I I agree. Yeah, rookie of the year. Then in the second round, that's when we get into the reserves. Caitlyn started out with, of course, her backcourt teammate and Kelsey Mitchell. Then you have Nafisa go with Courtney Williams. Then Caitlyn follow up with Gabby Williams. Nafisa countered that with Skylar Diggins. Then Caitlyn went with, a couple of rookies. Sonia Centron from the Mystics. Um, Nafisa follow up with Angel Reese.
Okay.
Then Caitlyn follow up with Kiki from the Mystics. Um, Nafisa went with Alyssa Thomas. Caitlyn went with Jackie Young. Nafisa Kelsey Plum. And the last pick for Caitlyn was Kayla Thornton, and Nafisa was Ryan Howard.
Okay.
So
Sound like it's gonna be a
pretty,
pretty,
pretty, pretty solid
yeah.
team on both sides. A lot of the
Hmm.
well, you can see where Caitlyn's, um, focus was in shooting. She got a lot of shooters on her squad. So we definitely are expecting a lot of 3 pointers being shot on that side. And Nafisa went, a lot of bigs, um, forwards, and a lot of interior offense. I'm definitely excited to see her and Paige, you know, on the court together.
Hmm.
Paige has been like really, really doing her thing. I'm happy to see her really making an impact in her rookie year. So that's cool. I'm happy to see that. Her from all the injuries in UConn, missing seasons and having a great season. Her final year, and then starting out this year. It's amazing.
No
So
doubt. We're in the building right now talking some WNBA. Myself and Yada Bear, aka Browski, in the building. Yeah, I mean, so far the WNBA has lived up to expectations. Speaking of specifically this season right now, the New York Liberty doing their thing right now. They're playing against the Las Vegas Aces right now. The Minnesota Lynx doing their thing. A couple of teams went undefeated for a little while, so now everything got their things up under them. The Indiana Fever, they're experiencing being without Caitlin Clark. So again, they're going to have to, be expected to win because now no Caitlin Clark means no excuses,
well, she's coming back
right?
tomorrow.
Okay, so she'll be back tomorrow. So
She'll be
again,
back tomorrow.
the Indiana Fever will be doing their thing. I was talking. I think we talked last week. We talked about the WNBA. I was like the Las Vegas Aces. You don't really hear about them a lot because from last year they were champions and they kind of fell off and things of that nature. Are they in the middle of the pack or are they a team that still you consider them an upper echelon WNBA team?
Well, right now, as they stand, I would say the middle of the pack. It seems as the league has finally caught up with them. Um,
Caught up and passed them, huh?
yeah, Yeah, and kind of passing, but that's to be expected with the talent pool that has been coming into the league now. You know, it's
Mm.
a lot of talented players coming from college. A lot of talented players have now starting to come from overseas into the WNBA. So now we're starting to get that foreign explosion like how it happened in the NBA. Now we getting that pool of players are coming in, and now and also with the addition of Golden State, um, who is having a wonderful freshman season. Being the new team on the block is generally like a struggle bus for that new team. These guys in the middle of the pack, they 500 at 9-9. And each game they play has been very competitive, and it's a team that's not filled with stars. There's no big star on that team, to point out, and they have been very surprising to a lot of people. But with the Aces, yeah, like they also in the middle of the pack at 9-9. And when we look at teams like Minnesota, Minnesota been one of those teams that always been lingering around but couldn't really get over the hump. And it seemed like this season they definitely are leading the way. Phoenix Mercury have reemerged as one of the top teams. Um, Still got you in New York Liberty, and a team that one of the newer teams too is the Atlanta Dream has finally starting to put everything together. They build up the team from their rookie class when they first was an expansion team, and they found a footing. Also, the Seattle Storm, another team that had success in the past and kind of fell off for the last couple of years, and now they're right back at it, like like they never left before. And then we look at a team like the Aces, who's always been championship talk, reigning MVPs. They did some moving in the off season that may have hurt them. With Kelsey Plum going to the Sparks, that seemed to be a big blow. We thought that with them adding Jewel Lord would kind of like help, Asia, with the scoring, and it's she's not having one of her best seasons this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a bunch of teams. Um, the Phoenix Mercury you mentioned Atlanta. Um, and when you talk about middle of the pack, I mean, the Golden State Valkyries are supposed to be in the middle of the pack. Not really, but like you said, these expansion franchises aren't built to go 10-30. You know what I mean? They're expected to, if not contend, act like you want to contend. You know what I mean? But there's that bode well for the upcoming franchises that are coming in, the Detroit, Toronto, even Philadelphia in 2030, where you have to kind of like from the first year get it cracking. If not get it cracking, at least be competitive. Because like you said,
Yeah.
the Valkyries are in every game.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so
Very, very, very entertaining. Um, I think they got the right coach. The coach over there is, very team oriented. Like I said, there's no like one star. Like you can't just point to one player that's a star player. There, it's a collective of them. And then we look at the Indiana Fever, who has maintained without having Caitlin Clark for like almost 2 weeks. She was out with an injury. They're 9-9, so they're still hanging around, and they also the Commissioner Cup champion. They won the Commissioner Cup
yeah,
without Caitlin Clark. Like I said, Aaliyah Boston has been holding down that team um, in her absence.
as you
Kelsey,
should.
Yeah, Kelsey Mitchell.
Yep.
Lexi Hall, Sophie Cunningham. Like it's been a team effort there, but definitely with the backing of Aaliyah Boston, she definitely up her production and up her game. And I'm just happy to see that because I'm a fan of Aaliyah Boston going back to her days in South Carolina. So to see that transition from college to the pros, I'm liking where she's going. So that shows me that when players like Breanna Stewart, Asia Wilson are ready to retire, that the league is still in good hands with Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and
Page.
people like that. So it's exciting. All Star game. It's what, the 13th. I believe it's the 13th of
Let
this
me let me
month.
ask you let me ask you a question. Um, is Aaliyah Boston finally getting her just due with her flowers? Because even as a rookie, she was, coming in from South Carolina,
Hmm.
heralded, going to do these things. She didn't really, come off like she was supposed to. She had a decent rookie year. Then the second year, here we go, right? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? She kind of gets pushed to the background a little bit. You know what I mean? Not really
Yeah.
a little bit, but hey, you know what I mean? But now, even just the emergence of Caitlin Clark and then the emergence of the Indiana Fever, they switched their coaches and things
Hmm.
of that nature. Aaliyah has still, instead of kind of like shrinking to the background, she's kind of like you said, risen to the occasion and been
Hmm.
like, "This is me. I finally get to get my thing on." And now the desserts that she was supposed to be getting coming out of school, she's getting now. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. She's shining right now.
Oh,
Aaliyah Boston should keep
most
shining, and when Caitlin Clark comes back, they're gonna be something to deal with Kelsey
most
Mitchell and
most
all that.
definitely, most definitely. I
Yes.
definitely expect them to have a playoff push. I do expect them to make it to the postseason, and I think they are could be a very dangerous team in the postseason. If everything clicks, even before Caitlin went out on injury, she was struggling on the field. She wasn't
Mhm.
making
Mhm.
buckets
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
But Aaliyah had took all the pressure off and was the main force, on the offensive side and the defensive side. So she's playing well on both sides of the ball. She's definitely getting her just dues now. As
Mhm.
you see, she's
Mhm.
an all-star starter, um,
Mm. Mm.
and a lot of respect is coming her way from her peers
Right. Right.
and
Right.
from legends of the WNBA. So yeah,
Mhm.
I'm definitely happy to see that from Aaliyah
Mhm.
Boston.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We in the building, man, doing what we do on Tuesday nights, live and direct. Got myself left-handed at RM Desk on Twitter, which is this right now. Odd partner number one in the building. And you already know the vibes. That's Browski Yada Bear, aka Ain't Scared, aka High Ceilings in the building. You already know the vibes. Um, Summer League. Here we go, Browski. The
Yeah.
next $2,000 ticket, right?
Yes.
Bronny James, who's doing some these some things in the summer league, going up against Cooper Flag, Lakers and the Mavericks. Who would have thunk it, right?
Who would have thought?
Um, who would have thunk it? Um, High ticket. Who would have
Yeah.
thunk it,
Yeah.
right? Um, Off the bat, off the rip, Browski. Let me ask you first before I go into my dialogue. Where you at with this high price ticket for a summer league game between a um, second year player and a incoming rookie?
Um, I mean, it's based off of the name of James, and um, I mean, I'm not mad at it. You know, it's the NBA. They're going to make money somehow, but I'm not mad at it. Bronny, he's been putting on a show so far in the
Yeah,
summer league.
he has. He
He
has.
you can tell he's have worked on his game. His time in the G League is now showing that he has improved
Mm-hmm.
a lot from what we saw last year.
He said a lot,
I mean,
lot,
I'm just being
a
honest.
Ronnie lot.
Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just I'm just being honest. What we saw last season to what we seeing now. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Like
I'm like
night and day,
now.
right?
Yeah, I'm like now I can get behind what people was all hype about. Like now I can see the potential in Bronny James. Like I said, he has um really worked on his game, you know, in the off season, and that's all I ask for. Don't just ride off of what your name is. If you really love this game of basketball, I want you to work on your craft. You know, work work on your skills to be the best that you can be, and not try to float because your name is LeBron James Jr. I don't want it.
Most
I don't
definitely.
want that. But um, I mean, the ticket price for this game. This is what they've been waiting for. I'm pretty sure if Bronny was still in USC and he was balling like this, and Cooper was still at Duke, the price for this ticket for a Duke USC
USC
game
and Duke
will
game.
be 2,000. It'll be like this. So we're just getting it now in the league, and we get to see what this kid Cooper Flag is really about too. See if he can really um, shine on this NBA floor, because it's different than college. You I don't care if you played at Duke. We all know how they get down in Cameron Hall and things like that. But this is the NBA now, player. You got more lights and more eyes on you, and you're the number one overall pick, so everybody's watching you, and you're also matched up against what some people may say one of the greatest basketball players that ever played, son, is. So it's like legacy
Don't forget to
versus.
don't forget to say the baby.
But I'm just saying, like legacy versus the new
The
wave.
new style.
The new
Right.
wave. So I'm not mad at it. And like I said, it's the NBA. They gotta kind of boost it up. They gotta hype up the set to sell them tickets,
And
sell
you
the
know
merch.
what? You absolutely right. Because like this is the type of game, it's summer league, so it
Yeah,
fits the MO like summer league, the Rucker, you think about, Philly, you know what I
yeah,
mean? This is the type, you hear about this is the type of thing that you hear on the block. Oh snap, Cooper Flag from such and such neighborhood is getting ready to play. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Bronny James from such and such neighborhood. Oh man,
yeah.
the park is gonna be packed.
Exactly.
So this is that type of scenario. That's why, like you, I'm not mad at it. It's just that it's like I told my man earlier today, it's the way of the world, yo. You know what I mean? Somebody gonna make $1 off of it, and
Oh, of
somebody's gonna
course.
pay $1 to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's all that is. But yeah, summer league is popping off. Ace Bailey, he
Ta-
yeah, and you know what?
her.
I halfway kind of don't blame him, and I don't know if this is me getting soft or whatever, but I kind of halfway, like you said, he was born in the 2000s. You know what I mean? I'm not even giving a lot of credence to these kids doing their knowledge like they supposed to, and he was like he didn't pay attention to that. Well, maybe you will a little bit now because John Stockton is going to be in your face every day. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you're gonna find out who John Stockton is. But
Oh yeah.
and I'm trying Browski to understand. You know what I mean? Because he said, "Yo, I don't know." He didn't try to front it off or whatever the case may be. He just was like, "Yo, he watched Kobe and this and that." And I'm like, "Okay, but didn't Kobe play against Doc?" Oh, never mind. But I just, but um, the old me would have been like, get the F out of here. Like you're supposed to know who that is, and he's in your your basketball franchise's family, and you're supposed to know the history. Whoop de whoop. But like we've all seen in many, 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 many instances, a lot of these kids don't know.
Mm-mm.
And then you know what, Kimmy? I just had an epiphany. Something just hit me. Boom. Something just hit me. If Donovan McNabb cannot know that there's overtime rules, Ace Bailey is allowed to not know who John Stockton is.
Why you always
Right?
gotta try to embarrass
I'm just
and, and stuff like
I was trying to find
embarrass?
the parallel, the happy medium.
How
Because
is
again,
that
like I said,
parallel?
Kimmy, I started off my conversation with saying I'm not really mad at Ace Bailey,
This
right?
guy always gotta try to throw some shots and well, no,
I wasn't trying to throw a shot. I was trying to find a. I couldn't think of
oh
another. I
yeah,
know
oh
there's
yeah.
another
Don
one.
McNabb is the
There's a
first.
bunch of them
It's the
out there.
first name
There's
that
a
came
bunch
to
of
my
them, but that was the
head.
first one. That was the easiest one.
That's
That
the
was
easiest one. You know,
that was the easiest one that come to my
we couldn't
mind.
talk
It was
about
a whole bunch
how
of them,
Aaron
right?
Judge just forgot how to catch a fly ball,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
we
that's
but
true.
we gonna talk
Yeah,
about
we gonna
Donovan
talk. Yeah,
McNabb.
that's
How
right. He forgot the
we
rules.
gonna
He
talk
didn't know it
about
was overtime,
practice, right? We
right?
practice.
Right. But again, this is the thing where these young cats, I'm trying, Kimmy, I'm trying to be like, okay, but now you got to do better.
I
You
mean,
got to do better.
we gotta be honest.
Uh huh.
What is he? What 18? Come on
Something
now,
like that.
come on now.
So
He's
when did he
not.
watch? So, yeah. So
He's
how old
not
was he when he
gonna
was
know.
watching Kobe?
His throw. Yeah, his throwback is Kobe. His throwback is AI. You know, he might go back to AI. He may throw in a little I don't know, Marbury. You know,
Hmm.
early Steph Curry.
Right.
You know, like he's 18. You know, that's like me talking like you bringing up old Danny Ainge, stats and stuff like
Right.
that. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
all
Right. Right.
right,
Right.
it's like, yeah, I know who Danny Ainge is, but I don't know his stats like that, like the history of Danny like that.
Mhm.
So, when he talking about John Stockton, it's like, well, yeah, that's way before his time,
Right. It is. It is. That's why I understood. That's why I
Yeah,
understood. That's
yeah,
why I wasn't
I'm
gonna
not
be
mad at
coming down
that.
on the kid. I wasn't gonna come down on him and be like, "You supposed to know
Now,
that before the
and
third."
people who are coming down, they need to chill out. Just because he played basketball doesn't mean he's a historian of
Right.
basketball.
Right. Right. That's right.
He just know his era.
But let me say this though. Let me say this though. Be devil's advocate on that. Um, his reputation is not doing well.
Oh no, it's terrible.
So again, the
Yeah.
people are gonna say, "Oh, he should have done a job." That's either here or there. But you're basing that on what you've been through with him so far. It's my
Oh yeah, yeah. He can't say anything. He got to know everything because that's how he perceived himself.
Mhm.
And when we see him in that first game, it was like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly why we didn't draft you because look how you look out there. Like, and everybody would say, oh, well, it's the first game. Yeah, I know it's the first game, but when you come off as arrogant and entitled as you was during this whole
Y'all
draft,
don't. Y'all need me. I don't need y'all. Right.
yeah, during this whole draft process, and
Hmm.
now you stuck in Utah when you could have been in Philly, but thank goodness that you're not in Philly because what you showed me is that you shouldn't be here. Maybe you need another year of college. You
And
know,
not for nothing, VJ Edgecomb is making y'all not even worry about Ace Bailey.
Ace who?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Because VJ came out there and he showcased some of his skills, and there's always room for growth. But what I see is an athletic guy who's not afraid to go to the paint. He has a nice little jumper, and he's just extremely athletic and raw. So I'm happy that, and he plays defense. So I'm okay with what I've seen so far. Um, I'm not jumping out the window because he only played one summer league game, and it's the summer league at that. You know, I would be sad if he can drop 28 in a preseason game. I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe we have something here. You know, but I'm not gonna go all crazy for a summer league game at all. But it was nice to see him match up against Ace Bailey and basically make everybody forget that Ace Bailey was even on the court because this guy VJ was out
We,
here putting on a
and,
clinic.
and we used to call that back in the days. We used to call that getting used.
And yeah,
That's what we used to
basically,
call it, getting used.
yep.
He's using them, son.
And he
Um,
was,
like you said, Browski. It's not up to us to judge his basketball knowledge, but
yeah.
we are going to judge him for his knowledge of basketball on the court,
Oh
right?
yeah, oh yeah.
Um, and that was a conversation that came up when we talked about. I don't know if you heard the conversation when we was on this on the Star Report talking about Len Bias. Would
Mhm,
he, was he better than Michael Jordan?
mhm,
Now, like for me, um, Len Bias was giving Michael Jordan that business, but Michael Jordan was also giving it back to him. So
mhm.
as far as the ACC was concerned, my point was, would Len Bias have been a great basketball player? Absolutely, right?
Mhm.
Um, I think that Len Bias, like I said on the show, I said if Len Bias' career would have blossomed out the way it was supposed to, you would have never heard of Paul Pierce.
Mhm.
You would have needed to hear Paul Pierce. And then you talk about, Paul Pierce, his situation that he went through when he first got up to Boston. I'm like, that number 34 is wow, ain't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then, the homie brought up Reggie Lewis. But to me, Reggie Lewis was different because I don't think Reggie Lewis was using, on it like that. You know what I'm saying? So I,
Mhm.
I just feel like, my point that Len Bias, from college when he was a freshman at Maryland, he went to his senior year, did his numbers, um, and my other point was back in those days, you had ACC, let alone the Big East. We're not talking about the Big East, right? We talk about the ACC. You had Jordan. Oh, because the homies was like, oh yeah, there was slouches. Like, where's the slouches at? You had Jordan, Worthy, Perkins, Lebo, Brad Doherty, Matt Doherty, right? You had Derek Wittenberg
Yeah.
sitting low from North Carolina State.
No, you
You know
had
what I mean?
dogs in the
Yeah,
ACC,
there you go, Kimmy. You had
but
yeah,
see that's casual NBA fans. They don't know, what was happening in college. So a lot of people didn't really watch college basketball back
right,
then because college basketball wasn't really on TV like that. You only had like some marquee games. Duke,
mm,
North Carolina. You know, we live up here in the north, so we had Big East basketball. Big East basketball here in Philly. We had Atlantic 10. You
right,
know,
right. That's right,
we had the five.
right. That's right. That's right.
So
That's right.
so back then, in the Jordan days, like you only see marquee. You might see a Houston game. You know, a
Louisville.
UNLV.
Mm,
Louisville, like you only see on certain. And then March Madness was when you really get to see
see everybody, right,
everybody, and you still really wasn't seeing everybody because
right,
it's only a handful of teams in the tournament back then. Because remember, it wasn't really
right, right.
expanded
That's
yet.
right.
You know.
There you go. Let's go, Browski. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so certain people, when you bring up like the Darties and the James, people don't realize James Worthy was that man in college.
Yeah,
He was
they
crazy.
don't know.
He
James
was all
Worthy
that
was
in
the
college, even more
truth.
than he
What?
was in LA. Like he was
Yeah,
all that
James.
in college. See, people don't
James Worthy
realize
was
that because they
killing
didn't
it.
see it.
Yes.
They just
Yeah,
know
and
James
Sam
Worthy.
Perkins, they had a squad.
Yeah,
What?
like when you look back at those drafts, like, well, why was Sam Perkins draft so high? Like because Sam Perkins was all that in college.
Yeah, Sam Perkins was nice.
Yeah,
That's right.
so
And then they want to try to talk, and then I'm like, okay, um, I bring up DePaul. They're like, well, when was DePaul nice? I said, okay, this was before you was born, because DePaul was nice when they had Mark Aguirre.
yeah,
DePaul was the truth, yo. But this,
yeah,
see, this is what separates the English from the Dutch. No disrespect to nobody,
yeah,
but it's just when you talk about it from your level. Like if your level is, you know, what's my man, the coach of Temple, John Chaney. If your level
John
is John
Cena.
Chaney,
Yeah,
right there you go, because maybe you can put me onto something. because that's
And
your thing.
so yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
If your level is that, then your level is that. You know what I mean? I just fortunately I go back and then the dude was like, well, they couldn't hang with these players today. Are you mad? That was fundamental basketball.
yeah. Now
Are you serious right now?
these guys couldn't hang with them back then because you didn't have that gathered step. You know,
Mm.
nobody was doing it. It was no Euro step. It was none
Right,
of
right,
that. You
Browski,
know,
right.
it was
Let's go.
hand checking. We was clotheslining people going down the lane. You know,
You better
we
not
would,
come through the lane. That's right.
yeah. So like, I think it's vice versa that certain players in this generation wouldn't hang back
In
then.
the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. So, but but like you said, you gotta meet people where they're at. You
Right.
know,
That's
with
right. That's
and
right.
you know you can kind of tell where they're at when you talk certain things with them, and they can't bring up. They will only could bring up like Jordan rookie or second season. They can't go back to the college. They can't go back
Right.
to those matchups. You know that he had with Lynn Byers
Right.
and
Right.
how those games
Right.
was and how like
Right.
that was like one of his true rivals. And unfortunately, we couldn't see that really play out in the NBA.
Let's go, Kim. Yup.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right. Absolutely. And again, to kind of like finish off the conversation, it just kind of like makes you wonder, man. Like one of the biggest what ifs is that you know what I mean? Len Bias, with the Boston Celtics. I think that
yeah.
his game, to counter off what they had at the time,
Mhm.
it would have been hard. It would have been hard. Boston Celtics would have got a few more championships with Len
Yeah,
Bias.
yeah, definitely because what what the Celtics did, with drafting, it was the right choice. It was you just coming from Bird and Russell and Mikel, all them
Mm-hmm.
guys that you won these championships with, and it's like, all right, well, he's the
Yep.
next generation who can keep that
Keep it
tradition
going. Yep.
going, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
it didn't play out that way.
Yeah, yo, that
So
that and the conversation basically was like, that the doctors had found, you know, he was using, and like that bugged me out.
yeah,
I always thought that was his first time, and he just kind of went overboard, and it hit him the wrong way. But wow. So again, then the homie got on the line and was like, "Yeah, he's from that area." So again, if you from that area, you're going to get introduced to it. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And what the it that we talking about for people that don't know is cocaine.
yeah,
So, lead bias is a cautionary tale. You know what
yeah,
I mean? You hear a lot about these athletes today doing their thing, but nothing strikes up memories and kind of like you get a look at people's face and their perspective when you talk about, especially for people that was then back in that time, back then, when Lenny Bias passed away.
yeah,
Just the anticipation was crazy. We just knew that it was about to be on and popping. You know what I mean? Not as a Knicks fan, of course, I was on the outside looking in, but it was just going to be crazy watching, those guys. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. But now in 2025 in the summer league, we got Bronny James and we got Cooper Flag as the talk of the league. I think that right now when we got Bronny James playing with a confidence, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I think in his mind, he's preparing himself for life without his dad on the sideline. You know what I mean, holding him down. And I
yeah,
think now if he wants to let his true talent, and his true passion for this sport shine through, now is the time. Because when Bryce James comes, that's when it's going to get spooky for Bronny James again, unless Bronny James establishes himself as the NBA star. He doesn't have to be a superstar, a mega
no,
star, a
mm-mm,
kilowatt star like his pops. He don't got to be like that. If he
mm-mm,
can just carry on the tradition to be better than some other superstars, players' sons that we've seen come and go. You know what I mean? So again, that's all Bronny has to do right now. He don't owe nobody nothing. You know what I
no,
mean? That part is over with. He's done. He's a staff. And like we said, we watched him grow. So
yes,
now is his first um name matchup without his dad being part of the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, how do you think that it's going to affect him on the court wise? I think it's going to affect maybe Cooper Flag more than Bronny James, for the simple fact that it's Cooper Flag's first, his first foray into the NBA, where Bronny's at least established it, had a year to kind of like settle in. What do you think Cooper Flag's first impression is going to be? Is he going to focus on, trying to get the win or trying to better his game, or just going at Bronny, or what do you think?
Um, I kind of think he probably going to try to go at Bronny. Um, ego. You know, um, and because he's the number one overall pick, he got all the hype, and then you have a guy. You know, like I said, his dad's LeBron James. Cooper Flag probably admire. Admires LeBron James, and now you're going to get the son. So in his mind, it could be like he's going at LeBron, like I'm gonna show them better than your son, type of deal. I will hope that he doesn't go in with that type of mindset because I want to really see him as a player and not him trying to ball hog and go at Bronny to make some type of statement. Like I don't need you to make a statement against Bronny James in the summer league game. I don't need to see that.
Right, right.
And I'm just hoping to see Bronny like continue his growth. Um, I'm hoping that he's able to maintain his spot on the Lakers roster and not get sent back down to the G League. Because last year the G League definitely did help him. Like I said, he helped him a lot. So I'm interested to see. We gotta wait till what, the 10th, was that Friday? That's tomorrow, Wednesday. No, what's it on Wednesday? Thursday. We got like
Thursday.
a Thursday, and it's gonna be on ESPN.
You already know.
You
I
know,
wonder. I wonder
all
how
this.
much it's commercial time going for.
Oh,
Like,
oh, listen.
you know what I'm saying?
And
Like,
you already know the stars are going to be there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron is there, and then we may see, Luca, or we may see, KD, or you know,
like Jay Billis,
yeah. I mean,
Jay Williams, and all of this.
Stephen A. probably going to be.
Right. You know what I mean?
It's going to be some stars
Um,
out there.
where are you at with the Joker not wanting to extend with the Denver Nuggets?
I think Joe. Well, the one thing I say about him is he looks at basketball as being a job. I don't think it's a passion for him. He's passionate about horses. Um, I can I can really see him saying, you know what, I'm just not going to play basketball anymore. I can see him just saying, I'm just going to retire.
Right. He's ready to
If
go home. He's
Yeah,
ready to go home.
if Joker says, I don't know, 25, 26 season, or 26, 27, the end of his contract is when his contract is up, that I'm just gonna go back home. I'm not gonna resign. I'm not gonna sign anywhere else. I'm just gonna go home. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
You know,
Hall of Fame, Hall of Famer.
I mean, it's the NBA. Everybody gets in the Hall of Fame. I mean that.
Sad but true.
Yeah, everybody gets in the Hall.
Sad but true, yo. Sad but true. But I feel like today's athlete, they've
But he's definitely
established.
Hall of Famer. Can't deny that. I mean, 3-time MVP,
He's
Finals
just, yep.
MVP.
They've established themselves as being able to call their shots. You know what I mean? If they want to
Yeah.
retire at whatever age, they can do that. You know what I mean? Put money up and do what they do. So
Mhm.
again, you're not going to see 42-year-old athletes anymore because, like, again, going back to the All Star game, which is next week. The oldest player, the oldest starter, I think is Freddie Freeman. He's 35.
Yep. Yep.
So these young players are choosing, to hey, I could play this sport for a few years, but I'm calling the shots. I'm not
Yeah.
playing because I have to. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
So I mean, if he doesn't resign, or if he, like I said, if he retires, I can see him retiring more than him going to another team.
Right, right.
Yeah. And
All
plus,
right.
and plus
Uh-huh.
the Nuggets, the Nuggets is a dumpster fire right now.
Hmm.
Fire the GM, fire the head coach. The head coach, the most wins, won a championship 2 years ago. Fire him. Like,
Yeah, everybody's schizophrenic, yo.
yeah.
Everybody's schizophrenic. You win, that's not good enough. We still gonna fire you. Um, let's get into some baseball right quick, because Browski, you still haven't really got into your All Star picks yet, and the game is next Tuesday night. Browski's gonna be doing play by play. I'm putting it out there right now.
Oh my
He's
God.
gonna be
See, you
doing
see
play
how
by
I was
play
saying?
for the All Star game. All right, that's next Tuesday night. Make sure y'all top it up with us and get right. You know what I mean? Down in Sports Talk in the building. We talked behind the scenes for a hot second. My Yankees right now are doing the June, July swoon. I'm not gonna blame it on. Look at this Browski. That gets a kick out of that. That makes you laugh, huh?
No, because
I'm out here for your.
no, no,
I'm
no,
out
no.
here for your
I'm
amusement.
not.
I'm
I'm
out
not
here to make
laughing
you
at. I'm not
laugh.
laughing at your pain because I feel your pain too, and you know how it is in the summertime. It's that July, August type of little slump that certain teams go to, and we're going through it too. So I get it.
I mean, like, we just lost another one of our pitchers um, out for the year. Louis Hill threw some, um, stuff off the mound, trying to get his thing back. Clark Schmidt is out for the year. Garrett Cole is out for the year. What are we to do? Our bullpen stinks. Gavin Williams should go back to Milwaukee in an
And you
Uber
can't say
with a flat tire,
that.
right? Um, and the lineup, for as much as it proposes to do damage, it really doesn't hit when it's supposed to hit. But we'll beat you 23-6, but we can't get that tie and run and we're down 2-1 or 3-1. You know what I mean? So again, you look up 6 weeks ago, the Yankees was up by 7 games over the Blue Jays. You look at today, the Yankees have 3.5 games back,
Love the Blue Jays. I
right,
get it.
of the Blue Jays. Again, um, I'm not, woe is me, and we're going to be in last place. But you know what I'm interested to see out of Bear?
What?
I'm interested to see how Brian Cashman and the Steinbrenners are going to move during this trade deadline period because the pressure is on. Whether you want to realize it or not, and you got your own thing to deal with down there in Philly, in the National League, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's forgetting about what happened last year in the fifth inning. I screamed and I railed about it. Oh, give them a chance. Now I'm not giving them nothing. Something got to give between now and when's the deadline, Browski? July 31st?
July 31st.
Something's got to give between now and then.
It's coming up fast. That's gonna
It's
move
coming
fast.
up fast. I propose
Uh
the
oh.
Yankees trade Jason Dominguez for Ronald Acuna Jr. I propose the Yankees go and get, by any means necessary, if you got to give up one of them bullpen arms or whatever the case may be, go get me Eugenio Suarez from the Diamondbacks to play third base. Because you already moved Jazz Chisholm back to second base where he should have been in the first place. Hey, that rhymes. Let's write that down. You moved Jazz Chisholm back to second base where he should have been in the whole first place. But I'm just saying,
No,
go get if you about that life, if you about that making people forget, especially cats like myself, that fifth inning World Series life, go get Eugenio Suarez, go get Ronald Acuna Jr., and if you got to give up something to get that,
you know what's so
Or
crazy?
Anthony Volpe can go.
Yeah,
Like, so
and
for real, I mean, it's you got to bite the bullet somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You got to bite the bullet somewhere, yo. And I feel like that move. That's one of those moves need to be made. What's your thoughts about your Phillies, Bowski?
I mean, I feel the same way how you feel about the Yankees about my Phillies right now. It's like what we have going on. isn't it. They want to run it back with the same guys, and I'm looking at my roster and looking at my lineup, and we going through the slumps right now. It's like we can't score, we can't. We had the bases loaded. We couldn't drive in a run. You get players in scoring position. We can't drive in a run at all. We need a center fielder. We have no center fielder for real. Like now we're going back to the platoon of Marsh and Rojas. You know, you bring up these guys, Otto Kemp and all like,
Otto Kemp. That's a funny name.
exactly.
Otto Kemp.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even wrote nothing like that down. And then I'm looking at this guy, Alec Baum. You know, is he's streaky. A couple games he'll get a couple hits and he'll drive in a run or two, and then it's all good. And then the next series, everything you gotta do to bring us back to reality is hit a ground ball on the third base line because he can't ever make that play. And then it's like, oh my God, Alex Bones stink. Yes, he does stink. Yes, he does.
Tastes like Philly garbage.
Just like the garbage here. He's trash Philadelphia. Okay.
Trash Philadelphia. All right.
So I also was looking at the Suarez guy from the Diamondbacks for third base because I'm looking at the Diamondbacks of itself. I'm like, well, you guys are not doing anything, okay?
Right.
Like
Right.
this,
They're definitely gonna be sellers. Right.
yeah, you should be selling, this year. You have a lot of good, you know,
Got some
assets on
pitching.
on, on, on your pitching, couple bats, couple infield defenders. Like I'm looking at him too. I'm like, we need a third baseman. Let's
If we
talk.
could somehow get, I wouldn't mind if we got Corbin Carroll. If
That
we didn't get, you know what I mean? It's some
listen,
dudes out there, so the
it's
trade
some
market gonna be
dudes
active.
out there, and I'm looking at the Phillies, and I'm like, listen, move Bryce back to the outfield. I need a first baseman with a bat. I need another bat in this lineup, and it's the same thing I've been asking for. I need a reliable closer that I can go in the postseason with, because unfortunately Jose Alvarado is not available for the postseason because he wants to be doing PEDs, taking some
He was
fake.
putting something in his Wheaties.
He taking he taking fake Ozempic, that's not FAD approved, and he got popped on with the drug test. And so I'm like, now you doing weight loss doping because you can't put down the chicharrones. Like, what are we doing, bro?
Hey,
Like,
send your emails to
yeah,
Senorita
yeah, you
Browski.
can send it right over here because
Send
because
your
right
emails to
now,
Senorita Browski.
because by him doing that, he basically he's basically ruined my season.
mm, mm.
He's ruined my season because he coming as being the closer. He's the closer, and you telling me that you waited until the season started to try to lose some weight, because the whole all season you out there eating chalupas and and birria tacos and quesadillas and birria ramen and all that other dumb crap. And
Browski
now
crazy.
you trying to lose weight all fast, so you getting some bootleg black market fake Ozempic, and you getting popped for PED. Like, what are we doing? What are we
Browski
doing,
crazy.
Jose? Like, get out of here. You had this whole feel good moment with the kid,
Right, right, right,
everything,
right,
and he's
right,
all,
right.
oh, Jose, you out there. Then the following day, you suspended for
Yeah,
83
man.
games, and then you're not even
This man
available for
take
the
a fool out of
postseason.
himself.
Like, what are we doing? Yes, what are we doing? And now I'm sitting here, I'm looking at
Yeah.
Bob Thompson, like, and I'm looking at Don Browski, like, so
Uh-huh.
what are you guys going to do?
Right.
Because we need a closer and we need a change in this lineup. This is almost the third season with the same lineup, and we seen the result. we are going backward. You went from going to the World Series to losing in the NLCS, then to losing in the NLDS. So what are we gonna do this year? Not even make the postseason? So, cause that's the way the trend is going. We're going backwards, and it's ridiculous. And I'm just tired of these guys sitting on their hands and not making a move and being satisfied with the same guys getting the same results. It's like, do you want to win the World Series or no? Because right now it's showing me that you don't want to win. You just satisfied of being in the conversation. I don't want to be in the conversation. I want to be the conversation. I'm looking around.
Getting spicy.
I'm looking at what the Dodgers are doing. Like the Dodgers are still maintaining with all of their injuries in the bullpen, and they still out there
With a six-game
killing.
lead.
And with a 6 game league, everybody, just about everybody in the infield and outfield on the All Star team, it's basically the LA Dodgers versus
Against the
the
American
American League.
League. Right.
Like that's what it is. And I'm just sitting there like, what are we doing? What are we waiting on? What are we doing? Oh no, we're gonna sit back and we're gonna watch the Chicago Cubs, outplay us. We're gonna watch the Cubs, become the Cubs again.
Hmm.
But we're gonna sit here and oh, we beat the Mets. Oh, at least we got a 1 game lead against the Mets. No, I'm not satisfied with just beating the Mets. Like we can't beat the Dodgers. That's the team that we gotta look to to beat. We can't beat the
Hmm.
Dodgers, and guess what? We damn near can't even beat the Cubs.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I'm like, what are we doing? I'm not satisfied. I'm actually kind of disappointed in the direction that we're going. Um, like we said, the trade deadline is on the 31st.
Hmm.
I need moves to be made. I don't care about none of these guys down there that you're not going to bring up anyway. You're not bringing any of these guys up. So if you're not going to bring guys up, you can ship them out so I can get guys in that can help me win now. Because right now, we're a win down team.
Okay. General Manager Browski of the Philadelphia Phillies. What move would you make to improve your team right now?
Three things that I need. I need, number one, I need a closer.
Who you gonna get?
Two, I, I mean, anybody's better than what we got. We have a platoon. It's like, oh well, we got to
You
put a
can
third
have
person there.
the Williams dude that we got.
I
You can
want.
have him. You give us JP Realmuto.
Oh, I mean, actually, I wouldn't be angry with moving on from JT because he's also playing like crap right now, and he's an old catcher.
Mm.
And we
Give me JP Realmuto.
and we have our second.
And I'll take Bryson Stott for the outfield.
No, we're not
Because y'all
doing.
can mess around and go, you know who I see for y'all, Browski? I used to be Cedric Mullins. Remember we talked about him about a
Yeah,
week or
we
two
talk about
ago?
sex. Yes, about
You know
sexual
who would be
violence.
perfect for y'all? I think, in my opinion, Byron Buxton from the
Um,
Twins.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad
He
at
plays
that.
defense. He
He
got a
does.
little pop in his bat.
But you know what they keep trying to give me Louise Rogers. They keep talking about
Oh, the guy from the White Sox,
from the White Sox. They
Luis
keep talking
Robert. Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
him, but I don't see it happening. I would be extremely surprised if they make any type of move like that because they keep talking about it so much. You know, anytime they keep talking about a certain
They
player or a
ain't gonna
certain
do it.
move, they won't do it. They've been
Right,
talking about Nolan Arenado for forever.
right. We talking about Nolan Arenado for a couple years
And,
now. Yep.
and like, what are we gonna wait till he's 40?
Right.
like
That's
he's
right.
not getting any younger. So I mean,
What are we, the New York Knicks? What are we doing?
there's several moves out there that can be made, but I just I know my team. We're just gonna sit on our hands and be like, oh, we're just gonna run it back. We're gonna stick it with our guys. We have dogs. I just can't. And I'm not gonna jump out the window because it's only July, but I'm gonna start jumping out the window in August. I'm getting closer to the window after the All Star break. You
Uh
know,
oh. She
I'm
gonna say she gonna
edging.
check to see if the window's open.
Yeah, yeah. When the All Star break happen, I'm gonna edge over to the window. I'm gonna peek out and look and be like, well, it's not that it's not that far, but
It's not that far.
not
I'll
that
be all
far,
right.
but
I'll sprain my ankle. I'll be okay.
yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
won't die, but I'll be in discomfort.
Right.
But like I said, after the All Star break, then I'm gonna be a little bit more close to the window. After the trade deadline, I'm gonna be at the window,
Mm.
and then August 1st, if I still got that same roster, I'm gonna be on the ledge.
Mm. Mm.
Cause I already
But what if
see
you? What if you still in first place?
it don't matter
Mm.
because we still can't beat the Dodgers. Be in the Mets, be in the Braves, be in the Marlins, the
Ah.
Nationals. That's not satisfying to me. Because I
Right.
see what's down the street, and what's
Right.
down the
Right. Right.
street
Right.
is Otani, Hernandez, Mookie, Freddie,
Right.
Morimoto. Like I see all of that, and I'm sitting here with Alec Bohm, a broken um, Bryce Harper right now because he's just coming back from off an injury and he's not finding his way.
A disgruntled
I
Castellanos.
just strong. Oh God, and a pitcher in Zach Roller who's pitching lights out, but he's not getting no support
No,
from
no run
anybody
support.
else.
Wow.
Is that yeah? So
So what's up with Aaron Nola?
he's still out. He's still hurt. He's still hurt, but uh, he's hurt with a terrible contract. How about
Mm.
that?
I mean, you got pitchers like Jacob Degrom, who all of a sudden is pitching like Jacob Degrom.
And yeah,
Which is a problem for the American League West. I think this trade deadline, if these teams are serious about making moves, we will see because
yep.
there's moves to be made. When you're talking about the Pirates, hey, like they got they for the right price, Paul Skeens can be had. You
Um, I
know,
mean, if I'm Paul Skeens, I would be talking to my agent, and I would have to be disgruntled because
he's
it's
four and
a
seven,
it's a
and with like a
crime.
1.5 ERA, one of the best pitchers in the league. He's 4 and 7.
It's a crime of what they're doing to this guy in Pittsburgh. Again, he's another player who's wasting his talent on a team that's not doing anything. It's not building up around this guy.
Not even worried about it.
Mm-mm. They don't
Because they
care.
know they got a golden ticket in Paul Skeens. They know when Skeens is pitching, they're gonna sell out the park.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So again, they're gonna try to get a king's ransom for Skeens, which they probably deserve.
No, they
But
definitely do.
I mean, who's gonna jump out the window?
Who's
I
gonna
would
go?
rather have Tariq Skubal than Paul
Always,
Skeens, but the
always.
Tigers is like, nah, son, knock it
I
off.
know he ain't never going nowhere.
He ain't going nowhere. Tariq Skubal ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like he's just like super duper dominant. He reminds me of. He reminds me of a younger, stockier version of Ron Guidry. Because when
Mhm.
Ron Guidry was pitching for the Yankees, he was like a lanky, skinny dude.
Mhm.
And I remember he struck out 18 California Angels. That's the night when we get two strikes on the batter, and then That's when that started. But
Mhm.
I think Tariq Skubal, you keep waiting for him to like kind of like now I would say implode, but like Paul Skeens, you couldn't touch him, but now
No.
he's back down to earth. Tariq
Yeah.
Skubal that left him in the dust.
He did.
Like real talk, Tariq Skubal left a lot of dudes in the dust. And again, to be as young as he is, and again that one guy, you know what I mean, that can turn the Tigers. What? Then that they got a Gleyber Torres go over there. They got a
Mm-hmm.
Javi Baez go over there. Next thing you know, they got a little squad going on, Browski.
No, they
And when
got
it,
a squad.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And look, how many games did they lead in the Central?
14.
Wow,
14
they got
games.
the champagne on ice for real, for real.
And
And
14
and,
games.
and my
Yeah.
disappointment right now, you know, my disappointment right now has to be the Kansas City Royals.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City Royals. I picked them to win the division. I picked them to win the division. I just feel like the talent that they have, not just around Bobby Witt Jr. You know what I mean? They've got some things. Brady Singer, one of my favorite players in the league. Jonathan India is over there playing second base.
Yo, they
Like
are stinking it.
yeah, go ahead and say it. They're terrible.
They stinking it up.
Yeah,
But but
they stink like Philly garbage.
they
You know what I
stinking
mean?
it up.
Word
The
up.
Twins are stinking it up
Yeah.
too. Like
Yep.
they just letting Detroit run off with the Central
Yep.
division. And what do we say about the Guardians?
I was on them and you said it. I was because I was on. I was like the Guardians gonna be do what they do, but nah, the Tigers just came and just wiped all that off the map.
Yeah, yes
You know
they
what I mean?
did.
The White Sox was an afterthought. The Twins don't know what they want to do. Remember, I said the Twins don't know what they want to do.
Twins don't know
But the
nothing.
Tigers are going to do their thing. You know what I mean? And I thought the Royals, especially after last year, what they did, whatever, they would kind of like,
I thought it'd be more
yeah,
competitive
jump off
between
on that
those
beat. But the
two.
Tigers is like, nah, son. You know what I mean? Those
14 games
additions
is wild.
is wild. That is wild. It's a wild giant lead at the All Star break, and like no coasting. We're gonna see what they gonna do because the American League Central should not be no pennant race involved. Pennant race should not be in any sentence that involves the American League Central this season. Pennant
Nah,
racing.
nah,
The
not
pennant
at
race is
all.
over. The American League
Not at
Central
all.
race is over.
Like they,
Are we burying Nebraska? Are we burying the teams? Are we starting burying them early before
it's
you know
kind
what I
of
mean? The 10th
it's
of
kind of
July, we're burying teams.
it's kind of early. I can't bury him all the way because it's still early. Two series. Two series sweeps. They right back in it. You know, so I don't know.
Yeah, so again, that's just where we at with it, man. I feel like we're coming up into the All Star break, and um, some people decline. Like Pete Alonso, he said, what, I need some rest this year. I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? And again, you got some people that are going to be in the home run derby. You got O'Neal Cruz is doing it, um, and I think that what they need to do, like one of my men say earlier, they need to have like a thing where who makes the fastest or the hardest throw from center field. You know what I mean? I think that should be a contest, or from shortstop to first base. You know what I mean? Because Ellie De La Cruz is like who was that to threw 105? Was it from the outfield or what was that? I think it was O'Neal Cruz from
It
the
was
Pirates.
O'Neal. It was O'Neal Cruz.
And I
Yeah,
was talking about
he
him
was
last. I was
outfield.
talking about him earlier in the season as
Yeah.
the routes that he takes to catch fly balls are terrible.
Isn't it? I thought it was weird.
The routes that O'Neal Cruz, who's teaching him how to play center field? Where's Omar Moreno at? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Who's teaching this guy? Because I
He
do
go
this. I
forward.
said,
He go
who the
forward to
routes
the
that he's taking?
side. It's like he running in circles. It's like
Yeah, like he's. he need to play. What he need to play, Browski? Some Benny Hill music. Like
for real.
he plays some Benny Hill music while he trying to catch a fly ball. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's really off the hook. Um, this weekend, Shakur Stevenson is fighting. Should we care? Do we care?
I don't care. He he his last couple fights been very disappointing. So it's like I feel like it's gonna be more of that
Mm. Okay.
than what we had seen in the past.
And you know what? It's Tuesday of fight week, and nobody's really bigging it up.
No,
That's
then
what you
nobody
can tell.
cares.
You know what I mean? No, right, Browski, right. Nobody cares. You know what I'm
Nobody
saying?
cares.
And again, that's just where we are. Tank's fight is coming up in a couple of weeks, the rematch.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see where we are with that. And then we got the September 13th joint with Canelo Alvarez and
That's the fight that everybody's waiting for.
yeah, and the homie Bud Crawford. And I think Bud Crawford gonna beat Canelo up.
I think he is too. I think this is maybe we're coming to the end of Canelo, and it's okay. You've been.
Man, it's fine, yeah.
It's time to hang it
You know,
up.
hmm
You done fought like
nothing wrong with
60
that.
times. It's
Now
done.
you can eat that alleged yeah. Now you now you can eat the yeah. Now you can eat that Now you
Yeah,
can eat all the hamburgers you want.
yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? Now you can eat all the hamburgers you want out in public, comfort your own home, do what you do, turn into Roberto Duran, swell up, do what you do, and enjoy life. You know what I
Fact.
mean? And while you doing that, myself and Yada Bear, we gonna do our thing, what we like to call down, what we getting down on. We gonna get down on tonight, Browski. What you getting down on tonight?
Oh, I gotta get down on this home plate from the game last night from the Phillies and the San Francisco Giants. This guy was completely terrible.
Mm.
Bring in the robot umps.
Let's
Like
go, Browski.
like my man Ryan Orion Kirkland comes in. He's he got two strikes on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Every pitch he thrown is a strike.
Mm-hmm.
He's hitting the corners.
Mm-hmm.
He even threw one that was like kind of like upper, like bottom, like in the bottom half of the corner of the plate, but it was like knee, it was like right above the knee,
Mm-hmm.
and he called it a ball. I'm like, what are we doing? But then you look at the pitch that which I'm throwing to Bryce Harper, it's 4 feet away from the freaking plate, and he's calling it a strike. Not
Mm.
only is he calling it a strike, he's calling it a strike three. I'm like,
Mm.
what are we doing? Like, it's to the point where even the announcers are like, this is ridiculous. We can
Mm-hmm.
tell from where we're sitting that that's a strike and
You've been
that's a
saying
ball.
that, right? That's right.
But you're standing right there,
Right.
supposedly watching, and you calling strikes balls and ball strikes. It's ruining the game. It's bringing down batters' averages, and it's causing pitchers to throw more unnecessary pitches.
Mm.
Because I didn't threw 5 strikes already. You called 2 of them a strike, and you called the other 3 balls. Like I should have been out of the
Not been
inning
in it.
already.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm throwing another pitch, and now he hits it, and it's a bases clearing double where we
Mm.
shouldn't even been in this situation because we should have been in the bull. We should have been in the dugout already because I already struck out this guy 3 times. But you calling it balls? Like it's like these umps need to be again held accountable, and we just need to bring in these robot umps. Like we just need to bring it in because it's ridiculous, and I'm tired of it. And it's not just with the Phillies. I just seen it with several other games, and I'm just like, this is crazy. And I'm just done with it. That's what I'm getting down on. Bring in the robot umps. Let's get it.
Browski stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
'Cause that's what I was gonna get down on. But that's okay, because we can hit him with the double whammy. You heard?
Him with the double win.
Look, the robot umps don't have to say a word.
They don't.
The robot umps have already proved their point. I've been saying this for years. The umpire, the referee, the official, the line judge, the side judge, the field judge, the whatever judge it is. You're the arbiter of the game. You never supposed to be wrong.
Never.
And people don't get that concept. It's all right, Bowski, if OG Ananobi misses the shot. with 3 seconds left on the clock. That's fine. But you know what's not fine? Is when the referee's looking right there at the player, he gets smacked on the elbow and he don't call it.
Yeah.
That's what's not fine. So going back to baseball, Kimmy, here's the thing. I'm gonna play devil's advocate now. The robot umpires are coming. You're gonna be allowed to make a challenge. Somebody's gonna be designated to make the challenge, right?
Mhm.
If you're right, you get your challenge. If you're wrong, you lose your challenges. You don't have no more challenges for the rest of the game. When do you use that challenge? Do you use the challenge in the second inning, or then you might not get to use it you might not need to use it any time in the game, or do you use it in the eighth inning, or your challenge is gone. Like it brings a different strategy to the game.
Mhm.
Um, do we care about the umpires losing their jobs? I really necessarily don't,
I
because
don't
y'all
care at
had
all.
jobs. You had
Exactly.
I say, Kimmy, you had one
Yeah,
job,
one job, and you're doing a terrible job at it.
and you make it about you.
Yep.
We can have all these examples of these umpires that get these exaggerated strike calls. They call balls, when they should be strikes, and vice versa. And then they don't want the box because us at home can see where a strike lands or doesn't,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So now instead of trying to kind of like work with the league and getting yourself better, because there are some umpires who have 99.8%
Yeah.
ratings. They rate every single game. They rate every single pitch. That's why I don't understand why some of these umpires, like the guy in the game last night for you, us, I can imagine what his rating was.
Yeah. Why is he still out there? Why is
Right.
he still out there?
So again, the rule or the proposed rule that somebody just came up with, I don't know who made it up, but I agree with it. If the umpire calls you out and you want to challenge the call, you challenge the call, and the umpire, the call gets overturned. The umpire should get thrown out the game.
Yes. Let's start throwing
I'm
them.
not. No. Listen, I'm not mad at that.
Let's start
Listen,
throwing out
you want
umpires.
balance. You want balance in this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, listen. If you're gonna make that out call, you better be right. You bet. You listen. You know what I mean? So again, at the end of the day, it's like I get it that the umpires are under a lot of pressure, but that's your job, homie.
You picked
That's your
it.
job,
You
homie.
picked that job.
Yes, sir. You picked that job. So again, when we even have to talk about technology taking over the game, it's already taken over the game. We got the thing on your wrist is telling you what
Yeah.
balls is the ball, the pitch.
Yep.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got all this technology. You can go into the dugout in the clubhouse and look at your batting stance and how you put all of this technology, right? And it finally got around to the umpires.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
thought y'all was safe, huh?
Yeah.
No
It's
pun
time.
intended, right?
Yeah.
Y'all
It's
thought that
time.
was, yeah. So my thing is this: the players now have to make sure that they know the strike zone, Kim.
Mhm.
You better know that strike zone, because if you're challenging and you're wrong, you lose the challenge for the rest of the game, and then how that factors in how you manage the game for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It all goes back to that challenge you made.
Yeah.
So again, with these robot umpires, man, I think it's been a long time coming, and the
Yeah.
umpires, the human umpires, have accelerated the push to get the robots. For all y'all
Absolutely.
want to be grandiose and making these bad calls, and they know that they're bad. You know why we
Yeah.
know that they're bad? I'm gonna take it back to the NBA again, Browski. They got the 2 minute report, right? Well,
Mhm.
we messed up on this call. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We ain't stupid and we ain't blind. So again, like Kimmy said a few weeks ago, your bad calls affect the current player situation, the coaching staff,
Yep.
the ownership, the
Yep.
front office, the
Yep.
fan base, the
Yep.
network, all of that.
Mhm. All
It
that.
has a domino effect for your bad call or series of bad
No.
calls.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So That's how I'm getting down on it. We did the double whammy on the get down on it tonight. This is down in sports talk. This is how we give it up on a Tuesday night. Myself, left-handed at RM Des on Twitter, which is this right now, and my co-D in the house as usual. Yada Bear, aka High Ceilings in the building. Um, we're gonna get up out of here. You can catch us. You know, we floating around and about. You know what I mean? You might see us. You know, catch us on the Star Report or something like that. I just want. I don't really don't do this, Browski. I really don't do this. Shameless plug. I
Uh
really
oh.
don't do this.
There you
Shameless
go.
plug.
Get it. Get it. You
Um,
should.
the odd partners are in the building. Myself, RM Des, and my man Pizzazz 16. We are in the house. We got a couple of joints. We shot the video for Love Party over the weekend. It was a dope scene, man. Shout out to my sister. Shout out to the God. I said my law. Shout out to the God Infinite. Um, and shout out to my man, the shooter, because we really got busy. Had us up to like 3 o'clock in the morning shooting, but it was dope to have that energy around, man. So we got another joint out there right now. Cram to Understand is out, making it do what it do. I hope y'all like that. And Love Party is coming real soon. I got the word. I can't wait. I listen. I had a lot of fun. We had fun shooting that because we was getting it cracking, yo. We had some fun. So look for that. It's on to come up. Somebody who you know and you see every Tuesday night might be on a upcoming joint later on this year. You know, you never know. Might hear somebody talk some sports on a hip hop joint coming up soon to an ear near you. My name is Left Handed at RM Des. All right, that's Yada Bear, aka Browski. Make sure you check out Queen Ree. She gonna hook you up with the resin joints and all that. I got mine. You should get yours. All right, and I'm gonna get me another one too. I'm just trying to think what design should I put on it. Fozzie Bear or Dr. Nick Rivera. That's my guy from The Simpsons, Dr.
You're
Nick
crazy.
Rivera. That's my man right there, yo. You don't know what the hell he doing, but that's my man. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. That's that's my man. And what he said to that dude, I'll be ready to let you go, Buster. I know you're gonna get up. What he said? Oh, he said, if it isn't my old friend Mr. McGregor with a leg for arm and an arm.
Hilarious. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh man, yo, we out, yo. This is what we do every Tuesday night, man. We have fun bugging out, talking, man, having fun talking about sports and what we do. Brosky got to get up out of here. I got to get up out of here too, yo. Enjoy your summer, man.
Yes.
Stay alive, man. Word up.
Stay
Stay
cool.
alive. Stay high, hydrated. You know, all that good stuff. Much respect to Duck Down, 30 years anniversary at Lincoln Center was crazy. Salute the odd partners, salute the shooters, salute Yada Bear, salute everybody. We'll talk to y'all next week. All-Star game, don't forget, one of us is doing play-by-play, and it ain't gonna be me. Right? Our partners, we out. We'll talk to y'all down in Sports Talk. We out. We'll talk to y'all next week. Y'all be peace.
Peace.